Hello, I'm Casey Richardson with Castanet News, and welcome to our Meet the Candidate series for the Boundary Similkameen riding. I'm here with Kevin Eastwood running Green. Kevin, thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me.
To start off here, give me a 15-second introduction. Who is Kevin Eastwood?
Um, I'm relatively new to Boundary Similkameen. My wife and I moved to the region a year ago now in Christina Lake. I've had the pleasure of running a few times before with BC Greens in Abbotsford, knowing I was unlikely to be the successful candidate, but with a desire to participate in the process and get to debate and get to represent green values and our vision for BC's future. And I'm proud to do so again here in Boundary Similkameen, where I hope to make my permanent home.
All right. And what is the most important issue facing the people of this riding, and how would you address it as an MLA?
I think for all people in BC, um, we're caught, I think, between two competing issues. On a macroscopic level, I would say that climate change um, is a crisis that will catch up with all of us and across Boundary Similkameen, whether the atmospheric river in Princeton, flooding in Grand Forks, forest fires across the region in Osoyoos last year. Um, we all know it's here. At the same time, I think residents are feeling the pressure with cost of living, cost of housing, uh, and trying to, you know, maintain some of their buying power. And that's putting the economy at front of mind also.
Mhm. And Boundary Milkmead in some ways is like two ridings in one, as the name suggests, with areas in the regional district of Okanagan-Similkameen and of Kootenay Boundary. How do you feel you have the knowledge base to address the needs of constituents in both areas?
I think, you know, to acknowledge, firstly, I am new to the region and I have some learning to do. Um, and that involves listening and getting to know people from across the region. That said, um, I grew up in Kamloops. I've worked for government in the natural resource sector, in wildland firefighting, in range management, and with Ministry of Agriculture. Um, and I'm presently working in the health field. So I have some exposure to issues affecting the economy of the region. And I hope that that background can help me communicate and understand effectively issues in the area.
Great. And much of this riding has seen continual challenges with healthcare, both in hospitals and access to family doctors. How do you propose to solve the issues?
So one thing I'm excited for with the Green Party is the proposed dogwood model, which looks at streamlining healthcare services by identifying where the existing inefficiencies are and what aspects of the job might be deterring professionals who would be interested in living in this area and providing health services. And so, what that is bringing doctors, nurse practitioners, and other health practitioners like physiotherapists together as a team to ensure everyone has access to a physician or nurse practitioner, but that administrative tasks can be looked after centrally by admin professionals rather than being a burden on doctors, and that referrals within that team can be fast and efficient. And so rather than just spending additional money on healthcare, it's about digging into how do we optimize the system? How do we find other solutions that make the job more enjoyable, more efficient, and focus or allow doctors and nurses to spend their time practicing their areas of expertise rather than on administrative tasks.
Mhm. And how do you feel about the privatization of healthcare?
Um, I don't support, and the Greens don't support the privatization of healthcare. In other provinces like Alberta, it's added to wait times for surgeries. And I think it creates division in the population um, where it removes some incentive to improve healthcare for all people, which I think as Canadians we expect. Um, and it, I think, is a bit of a cop out rather than trying to solve problems that we're facing. It's inviting, I guess, to abandon that responsibility and allow private industry to attempt to solve those problems. And I'm not convinced um, that the outcome is actually more efficient or equitable care.
Mhm. And a key tenet of the Green Party platform has always been climate change action. What would you do to forward that goal if elected?
Uh, a big part of the BC Greens campaign is to address uh, polluters that are some of the biggest emitters in the province, and that's the oil and gas sector, um, as well as to halt an expansion of LNG production and make LNG producers pay their fair share, both of carbon tax as well as uh, the effective subsidies that have been given to them with respect to provision of electricity, LNG Canada, and cost recovery to remove some of those incentives so that taxpayer dollars aren't actively subsidizing a growing mega emitter of carbon dioxide. And instead, we need to focus on more sustainable, renewable energy projects where there's better community investment and co-ownership with First Nations so that we have a secure, local, and efficient energy system moving forward that's lower in carbon and meets the needs of our province as the population grows.
And what changes would you like to see done in our region to help farmers following the several years of devastating crop losses due to the unpredictable climate?
Yeah, I think there's some changes proposed with respect to water, and the BC Greens promote water stewardship societies to look after the local watershed and ensure that projects are in place to maintain the health and volume of a watershed such that that resource is available for agriculture, which is a concern in drought years, which are frequent, relatively speaking, in the Kettle River uh, watershed especially. Um, and we also need to provide some assistance with respect to climate change adaptation, um, getting new infrastructure, more efficient irrigation systems, looking at the crops we're growing and helping farmers adapt, replant, do what they need to do um, to have greater confidence that they will have a yield, that they do have a regular and predictable product, so that their business can be successful because they have confidence to invest and to move forward.
Mhm. And finally, we may or may not end up with a majority government after this election. If you are elected, what is one local issue you would be willing to reach across the aisle on, support another party?
um, I think there can be many issues where I'm comfortable reaching across the aisle. I think it's part of the Greens philosophy to collaborate and try to move towards a consensus and to recognize where there are positive initiatives that move us in the right direction, that we're there to support those initiatives. And that means still providing some critical input to make sure that those things are implemented appropriately and responsibly. Um, but I would say potentially there's many things that I would be supportive of. One thing that I hope to see happen in Kootenay Boundary is greater public transit. BC Greens would like free transit, but if any party is willing to step forward and improve transit, whether that's free or moving in the right direction, I see a need for that as we have many small communities where people who may not have vehicles, seniors, people with disabilities, maybe struggle to do their shopping, to see doctors, to go to activities. And by removing that barrier, I think that it both provides an opportunity uh, for an improved quality of life for many, many residents, but also I think is an economic boost. It boosts commerce. It effectively connects us. It allows for more commercial opportunities for people to shop, for people to go out for dinner. Um, and I think that type of initiative would be a huge benefit across our region. And we're so concentrated on a single highway corridor with a couple spurs up to Oliver to big towards Big White. I don't think it's untenable to invest in making transit accessible and as the Greens suggest, free.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Kevin.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Click to Castanet for more candidate interviews leading up to the provincial election on October 19th. For Castanet News, I'm Casey Richardson.